What is going on, YouTube? So my name is Jcar. This is my channel. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, where I upload videos, talk about sports, talk about mainly football, mainly New York Giants, but occasionally have some other teams, some other sports thrown in here from now and then. I wanted to start things off with a bang, and with that, with the season that we're in right now, that would be a 7-round mock draft for my favorite team, the New York Football Giants, and that is exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm making these decisions based off what I think would best benefit our team and what I think that our general manager, Dave Gettleman, should be doing. I haven't been the biggest fan of all the offseason moves we've made so far, but I don't think they're absolutely terrible. I do think that with what Dave Gettleman has put into place, we have pieces and we have parts of our team that can turn out to be really good. I like that we have 2 first-round picks. I like that we have a high second-round pick, and we have good opportunity to make ourselves a really good team and to contend in the future to be a good team for years to come, not just for 1 or 2 years, but we can really set up our team to be really solid and really as the next dynasty, I would say. So with that being said, let's start off with the number 6 overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. I have the New York Giants selecting Devin White, middle linebacker out of LSU. Now, a lot of people would probably go quarterback here with Dwayne Haskins, and I think Dwayne Haskins would be a good fit for the New York Giants. However, I'm just not sold on him being that game changer. He's not someone that I'm absolutely in love with. Now, if the Giants happen to draft him, would I be mad? No. It's just he's not the guy that I look at and I say he's going to lead our franchise. He's going to win us game after game after game. And I look at the history of what the Giants have had, and it's all been a really good defense whenever we can go out and win the Super Bowls. And we haven't been that in the last couple of years. We've been terrible on defense. And I attribute that to us being us just lacking the dominant force at middle linebacker. That's something that Devin White can give us. I like Devin White a lot. I think he's a really well-rounded talent. A few things that I don't like about him, though. He's not the best tackler, and his instincts are good, but they're not great. And sometimes he has trouble getting off of blocks. Now, with that being said, Devin White also did transition from a running back to middle linebacker just, I think, around 3 years ago. So with the skill set that he has, under the right coaching, he could probably become one of, if not the best middle linebackers in the NFL. He has that skill set. It's just he hasn't honed in on it yet. And like I said, that's probably because he's only been playing linebacker for around 3 years now. So looking at our current linebacking situation, we have Alec Ogletree and we have B.J. Goodson. Alec Ogletree had a very misleading year. His interceptions were high, but he was terrible in coverage and terrible against the run. B.J. Goodson was decent, but nowhere near good enough of what we need. He was also very injury prone. Ed Oliver is someone that I could see us taking here, but putting Ed Oliver over Devin White was just something I didn't want to do. And taking a quarterback is something I don't think we should do, because I think we should be building up the team around him, building up his supporting cast, giving him a defense to rely on, an offensive line to sit behind, targets to throw to. It's just not something that I think that we should be doing, is taking a quarterback when our team is just bad. If you throw a bad quarterback onto a bad team, he's not going to do good. And it's just not what you should do. You shouldn't take a quarterback and throw him into a situation where they're just going to get killed. I also looked at a couple of edge rushers. I just thought at 6 it was a little bit too high, because I assumed that Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams, and that top tier of of defensive linemen and edge rushers are probably going to be gone by 6. So I figured Devin White could possibly be there. If not, I would like to see them go Ed Oliver. But if Devin White's there, he's got to be the pick for me. And with that being said, with the 17th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Clelin Ferrell, edge rusher from Clemson. Now, with this pick, I had a lot of different ways that I was looking at it. I thought about going with the offensive line, with Cody Ford, Jonah Williams possibly being available, Dalton Reisner, Andre Dillard. Those are all guys that could be in play at 17. And I think they wouldn't be bad picks, but I see Clelin Ferrell dropping to around this range. And although he doesn't fit our scheme perfectly, he's a tremendous, tremendous player. I love everything about him. I think that he's got one of the best first steps off the line of scrimmage in this entire draft class, and probably out of the last couple years that I've seen. He's just such a great talent that I couldn't pass him up. Some other people that were in play were I was looking at maybe if Brian Burns, Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary were to fall here. That could possibly be the pick as well, but I figured Clelin Ferrell is just, like I said, he's such a tremendous talent, and if he falls to 17, this would be an absolute steal for the Giants, and I think it would be a no-brainer. And pass rush is probably our most important need, and he would satisfy that just perfectly fine. And so moving on to the 37th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Taylor Rapp, safety out of Washington. Again here, I had a lot of other options that I was looking at. Maybe if A.J. Brown or N'Keal Harry were to fall here, they would also be picks. But at this point in the draft, I do still see all 3 of my top safeties being there, being Jonathan Abram, Nasir Adderley, and Taylor Rapp. I think Abram and Nasir Adderley might go a little bit before this, and I actually think Rapp is probably the best fit for our defense. Watching his film, he reminds me a lot of Tyrann Mathieu coming out of LSU. He's someone who is really good at blitzing. He's pretty good in coverage, and he's got really good instincts, and he plays with a pretty high motor. The one knock I do have on Taylor Rapp is sometimes when he's making tackles, it does seem a little sketchy, so I think he can improve on his tackling. But I think under James Bettcher and being in this system, he will just thrive and be able to do so much. And I think with Taylor Rapp and Jabril Peppers, that's a really good safety duo for us to have. Some other names that I was looking at were if Andre Dillard or Dalton Reisner were to fall. I think those would have to be no-brainers, but I don't think they will. I also thought possibly Greg Little, but Greg Little to me needs a lot of work, and I think Taylor Rapp is a lot better at the position than Greg Little. Also, Ja'Kai Polite, Jeffrey Simmons, and other defensive linemen. But I figured with Clelin Ferrell, that kind of gives us a not immediate need to get defensive ends and defensive tackles as of right now. Now, what's next for the Giants is I have them trading up back into the 3rd round. So I think giving up our 4th and 5th round picks, number 133 and 144 or 43 overall, plus a 5th rounder next year, will give us Seattle Seahawks third round pick, number 85 this year. And with that pick, I have the New York Giants selecting Hakeem Butler, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Hakeem Butler is a big body receiver. I think I believe he's 6'5", maybe 6'4", and he has a great catch radius. He's a player that when I'm watching him, he reminds me a lot of Plaxico Burress, and that's something that Eli Manning hasn't had in a long time. And I think with that, there's just with our receiver core the way it is right now, after we got rid of OBJ, we still have Sterling Shepard, we signed Golden Tate, we have Corey Coleman and Cody Lattimore, but we're missing that big body receiver that can kind of go up and just be that target for Eli and for who our next future quarterback is. And I think Hakeem Butler can be that for us. He's a very raw talent, but under the right coaching, with the right help from Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, he can become one of the better receivers in the league and can be someone that we can depend on from Eli or from whoever our future quarterback may be. And so now with the 95th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Jalen Ferguson, D-end out of Louisiana Tech. I think Jalen Ferguson is someone that a lot of people can see dropping to later rounds. I think his floor is probably around the mid fourth round, and I have us selecting him at the bottom of the third. I think he's a tremendous talent. He led the NCAA in sacks, I believe. And I like the way that he plays. I think he'd fit pretty well. I think both Jalen Ferguson and Clelin Ferrell would be two great additions for our defense and help us get after the pass, after the quarterback. It's something we haven't really done well in the recent years. I believe the last 3 years we've finished in the bottom 5 of sacks and of everything rushing the passer. I think we need to address that. And with Clelin Ferrell being a tremendous talent, I think that's not good enough. That just shows you how bad our pass rush really is. And I think a guy like Jalen Ferguson can really help us out a lot. So with the 108th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the New York Giants selecting David Edwards, offensive tackle out of Wisconsin. I have us finally addressing our right tackle spot here. I think that with right tackle, it's something that we need to find a starter for. And I think David Edwards is a pretty slept-on offensive tackle prospect in this draft. I think, granted, this is a very deep tackle class and offensive lineman class in general. So that's why I kind of skipped over at 17 and at 37. That's why I skipped over the offensive lineman, because I thought maybe in the 4th round there's people like David Edwards or Bobby Evans that could come in and not be elite number 1 in the league tackles, but they can be viable starters, especially as a right tackle instead of a left tackle. I think David Edwards has good potential to be a starting caliber right tackle, and that's all you need at the right tackle position. Yes, you could argue that we want to have all stars at every position, but when you're looking at a 4th round pick being able to come in and start and being able to provide a good service for our team, I think David Edwards can do that, and I think that's a really good value pick at 108 in the 4th round. And that's where I would like to see us go. Another name, like I said, is Bobby Evans is another guy out of Oklahoma, is someone that I saw us potentially taking and that I actually had mocked to us earlier. So now, moving on to the 142nd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the New York Giants selecting David Long, cornerback out of Michigan. right in these mid rounds is kind of where I think we need to address positions like cornerback, the interior offensive line, possibly, and getting a lot more depth. I think with the first couple of picks, we really helped build up our defense and our positions of need. But now getting into that 5th, 6th, 7th round, we should be looking for guys to provide really good depth at the position. And that's something I think we need at cornerback especially. We have Sam Beal and we have Janoris Jenkins, but looking at those two, Janoris Jenkins is on a heavy decline. Sam Beal has yet to play a snap in the NFL and is very, very unproven. Granted, I do like Sam Beal, and I think he has a lot of upside, and I think he can be a good player, but we can't bank on that. He hasn't played a snap in the NFL. We also have Grant Haley, who I think who actually put together a really good rookie season. Just the fact that he serves more better as a slot corner, and I think with that, we need more corners to play on the outside. We need to get more players behind Sam Beal and Janoris Jenkins and Grant Haley. We need someone like David Long who can come in and possibly play snaps from here and then and develop into that role as a decent starter. Once Janoris Jenkins, I do expect him to be gone after this season. If not, I think his contract does expire the year after that. So given time, I think David Long can turn into a viable number 3, number 4 corner and someone that has depth. I think he also has the upside to potentially become a number 2 corner. I wouldn't say that I see him as a number 1 corner in the league, but being someone who can line up and start on Sunday is something that he could do. Granted, again, I'm looking at him more as a depth player than as a starter, but I do think that him being there and being in the 5th round is around a good spot for him to be taken, and I think that's where we can get him in a good value again. Moving on to the 171st pick, I have the New York Giants selecting Connor McGovern. Guard, center, interior offensive lineman out of Penn State. I think Connor McGovern has a great skill set. He's worked with Saquon Barkley. Not that has too much to do with it, but while in college, he was the one who provided a large amount of gaps in the middle for Saquon, and I think moving him as a backup for guards and centers for us would be great. And could actually eventually take over that starting role at center. Dave Gettleman has raved about John Halapio, and we re-signed Spencer Pulley. So we don't need an immediate need at center. We have Kevin Zeitler and Will Hernandez at guards, but I think having McGovern as that backup to them and being able to eventually take over the center role would be a great value at 171. On to the 180th pick in the draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Michael Jackson, cornerback out of Miami. Besides having one of the 2 best names in the draft, next to Rock Ya-Sin, I think Michael Jackson is a good player, and I have him rated similar to David Long. I think he's a guy that could come in and provide really good depth at the cornerback position. And like I said, we need a lot of depth at the cornerback position because behind those starting 3, we don't really have much else. And I think Michael Jackson is a guy that could come in who could provide that depth and get good snaps in and eventually take over as being a number 3 corner. Now going into the 7th round pick, we have 2 picks, and with our first one, number 232, I have the New York Giants selecting Trayvon Williams, running back out of Texas Tech. This is a pick where because I think we're going to be putting a lot of wear on Saquon Barkley. I think we need that backup to be able to come in. And Trayvon Williams is someone I saw that looked good on film for the most part, has good talent, might be overshadowed by a lot of guys. I was tempted to go running back in a little bit earlier round. I was thinking someone like LJ Scott in the 5th, or maybe Bryce Love in like the 4th or 5th round as well. Imagining a backfield with Bryce Love and Saquon Barkley would be insane. But I don't think it's as big as a need, because Wayne Gallman is better than most people think. He's not a superstar by all means. He's not a starter, but he's a decent backup. But besides that, we don't really have anyone else. I believe we cut Jonathan Stewart. We let him go. So with just having those 2 running backs, obviously Saquon's probably the best running back in the NFL as of right now, if not top 3. With Wayne Gallman behind him, that's a decent backup, someone who can get carries in from here and there. But I think we need to add another one. And just in the 7th round, you're just taking shots. Trayvon Williams, like I said, really good backup. And with our last pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, pick number 245, I have the New York Giants selecting Amani Bledsoe, defensive end / defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Now, I am a Oklahoma fan. I watched the majority of the games, and I will say Oklahoma's defense was god-awful. Granted, that doesn't mean there wasn't bright spots on the defense, and I think Amani Bledsoe showed flashes from here and then of being that 4-star recruit out of high school. I think he has potential to, again, be a decent backup. I wouldn't even say that he's going to be a starter, but giving as a DN and D tackle, this is someone that I see that can come in, relieve Dalvin Tomlinson, B.J. Hill, Jalen Ferguson, Cleveland Farrell, giving them snaps off and just adding to our rotation. Someone who's just going to see maybe 2 or 3 snaps, 4 snaps, 5 snaps a game. Nothing too tremendous, but being able to come in, and I think he can at least do his job on those couple of snaps that he does get to play. So, going over a draft recap real quick, I have Devin White at number 6, Cleveland Farrell at number 17, Taylor Rapp at 37, Hakeem Butler via a trade with the Seahawks at 85, Jalen Ferguson at 95, David Edwards at 108, 142 I have us going David Long, 171 Connor McGovern, 180 Michael Jackson, 232 Trayvon Williams, and our final pick, 245 Amani Bledsoe. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you think I did a great job, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. If you have any disagreements or any other players that you think we should have gotten instead, go ahead and write that below, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. I am a new starting up channel, so I don't have thousands of comments to get back to, and I would love to hear from anyone that has anything else to say. Thank you, and have a great day.